A few years ago, I had one income stream, my salary, and somehow it never seemed to stretch as far as I thought it would. So instead of cutting more coffees, I started experimenting, and a few years later, my financial life looks completely different. Nothing extreme, no quitting my job, no drop shipping empire, just a handful of boring, grown up moves that actually worked. And the best part, most of these are things you can do too, starting from the job, the home, and the money you already have. So let's break down how I built multiple income streams and how you can start building yours. I started out in what felt like a dead-end job, customer service in IT, doing tech support on the phones. It paid the bills, but that was about it. Every day was tickets, hold music, have you tried turning it on and off again? If you've ever done that kind of job, you know the feeling. It's a mix of patience, caffeine, and mild existential dread. Thing is, I'd messed around with programming before, just as a hobby. I wasn't particularly good at it. Honestly, I wrote some of the ugliest code known to humankind. But it worked well enough to automate a few boring tasks, moving data around, generating reports, little shortcuts that save time. And here's where it got interesting. Those tiny projects started fixing real problems for the team. They weren't massive, but they made people's jobs easier, and people noticed. And that's the key point I want to make here. It's not always the skill itself that changes things, it's getting noticed for using it. When people see you solving real problems, opportunities start appearing that weren't visible before. And that's exactly what happened to me. I used those small wins to move sideways into a junior programming role, learned most of the real skills on the job, and built from there. A couple of years later, that dead-end job has turned into a proper career, and my salary has doubled. But here's the part that matters for you. What's your version of that story? What skills do you already have, maybe from a hobby, a side project, or just curiosity that could make life easier where you work? You don't need to become a different person or start over. You just need to make yourself a little more useful in a way people can see. That's how you get noticed. That's how you open new doors. And honestly, the fact you're watching a video like this already puts you ahead of most people because you're actually looking for ways to improve, to get noticed, to move forward. That mindset is the hardest part. The skills come after. For me, that was the first step towards building multiple income streams, not by jumping ship, but by leveling up right where I was. Once my income started to grow, I did what most people do at first, absolutely nothing smart with it. It just sat there in my bank account, quietly losing value to inflation, like an obedient little soldier marching backwards. Eventually, I realized I was missing a huge opportunity, the ISA. The individual savings account, the most boringly named, genuinely powerful tool in the UK for growing your money tax-free. Now, if you're already glazing over, stay with me, because this is one of those things that sounds complicated, but really isn't. An ISA is basically a legal wrapper that tells a taxman, you can't touch this. Whatever money you make inside it from interest, dividends, or investment growth is yours, tax-free. When I first started, I didn't max it out. I just put in what I could afford, small, regular amounts. The key was consistency, not size. And inside that ISA, I kept it simple. I went for a global index tracker. That's basically a fund that invests in thousands of companies all over the world. The Apples, the Nestles, the Unilevers, all bundled together. You don't have to pick winners. You just own a tiny slice of almost everything. And over time, the global economy does the heavy lifting. It's not flashy, and it definitely won't make you rich overnight, but it's reliable. And the best bit, you can buy it, set up monthly contributions, and then completely ignore it. It quietly compounds in the background while you get on with your life. And here's what I learned. Earning more from my job was great, but earning while I slept was even better. Not in the make money while you sleep nonsense way. I mean actual compound growth. You put money in, it earns a bit, and then that bit earns a bit more. And slowly, the snowball gets bigger. If you haven't started investing yet, don't overcomplicate it. You don't need to be a stock picking machine. A simple global tracker inside an ISA is enough to get started. Add money regularly, leave it alone, let time do the hard work. For me, that ISA and the global tracker sitting inside it became my first real passive income stream. The quiet worker in the background, compounding away while I focus on everything else. Let's talk about something far less exciting, cash savings. Yeah, I know, not exactly thrilling. No one's bragging on TikTok about their emergency fund, but honestly, this was one of the most important things I built early on. When I started earning more, it really was tempting to throw everything straight into the ISA. But truth is, your investments only make sense after you've got a safety net. Because the moment something goes wrong, the car breaks, the boiler dies, or the cat decides to eat something stupid, you don't want to be selling investments or going into debt to fix it. So I built a simple rule for myself. 3 to 6 months of expenses in boring, high-interest cash. Not under the mattress, not in some sketchy app, just in an easy access savings account that actually paid a half-decent rate. Here's the thing most people miss. Cash savings are a form of income, just a quiet one. It's not life-changing, but with higher interest rates recently, it's finally earning again. And when that interest compounds month after month, you're literally making money for doing nothing, safely. And the best part is it buys you peace of mind, because you've got a buffer. Everything else becomes easier. You can take calculated risks. You can invest consistently. You can sleep at night knowing you've built a bit of breathing room between you and the chaos. You're planning for your future self, and that's something most people never get around to. Your savings aren't just a buffer, they're proof that you've shifted from surviving to strategizing. Once I had my finances in a good place, job income growing, savings built, ISA ticking along, I started looking for ways to bring in some new income. And one of the most surprisingly effective ones didn't involve stocks, crypto, or starting a business. It was literally just a spare room. The rent-a-room scheme is one of those rare government ideas that actually makes sense. If you rent out a furnished room in your own home, you can earn up to £7,500 a year completely tax-free. No forms, no side hustle guru, just space. For me, it was a no-brainer. I had a room sitting empty, and the bills weren't getting any smaller. So I cleaned it up, listed it properly, and within a few weeks I had a lodger. Now, I won't pretend it was totally effortless. There's a bit of admin, and you've got to be sensible about who you rent it to, but compared to most side hustles, it's about as simple as it gets. One room, one rent payment, one extra income stream. And that rent made a real difference. It covered utilities, helped me save more, and gave me breathing space when costs crept up. It wasn't passive exactly, but it was predictable. The big lesson here isn't that everyone should start renting out a room. It's just sometimes the best opportunities are right in front of you, hiding in plain sight. You don't always need a new skill or business idea. Sometimes you just need to look at what you already own and ask, could this be working harder? That one simple decision added a tax-free stream to my income, and it became the bridge between earning more and feeling financially secure. The last income stream I've been building isn't really an income stream yet, at least not in the financial sense. It's this channel. When I started making videos, it wasn't about chasing views or sponsorships. It was more of an experiment. Could I take everything I've learned about money, work, and building stability and turn it into something creative that might eventually pay for itself? Right now, it's not making any money, but it's teaching me a lot. I've learned how to animate, badly, but better than before. I've learned how to use software I'd never touched a year ago. I've learned how to plan scripts, edit audio, design thumbnails, and somehow keep the whole thing consistent enough that it feels like something. And that's what makes it valuable. Not the money, but the skills and confidence that come with trying something new. Every video is a small experiment. Can I tell a story better? Can I make this easier to understand? Can I make finance a bit less boring? If the channel grows one day, great. It could become a proper income stream. But even if it doesn't, it's already paying off in other ways. It's forced me to learn, to be creative, and to think about ideas in a new way. And those skills, communication, design, problem solving, they spill over into my job, my projects, everything else I do. And that's the bigger point I've discovered along the way. Once you have a solid financial base, your job, your savings, your investments, you gain the freedom to experiment. You can take small, smart risks without the pressure of needing them to succeed immediately. Some will fail, some will quietly grow. And sometimes those little experiments turn into something much bigger than you expected. Oh, and on that note, if you're enjoying this experiment so far, maybe give the channel a tiny boost and hit subscribe. You'll be helping turn this particular future income stream in disguise into, well, slightly less of a disguise. So that's where things stand right now. I didn't quit my job, I didn't start a company, I didn't win the lottery or invent an app. I just took what I already had, my skills, my savings, my space, and my curiosity, and tried to make each of them work a little harder. Over the last few years, that's added up to 5 streams of income in different stages. My job, my investments, my savings, my spare room, and this channel. Some are steady, some are still growing, some are more experimental than profitable, but together they've completely changed the way I think about money. Because building income isn't about chasing quick wins, it's about creating options. Options to take time off, options to say no to a bad job, options to explore new things without panicking about the bills. And you don't need to do all of this at once. Start with one thing, get good at it, then build another layer. It's a slow process, but so is anything worth doing. If there's one thing I've learned through all of this, it's that the boring stuff works. The small, steady, consistent moves build a foundation you can actually live on. And if you've made it this far into the video, I'll take that as a sign you're already thinking differently. You're not just watching, you're planning. So here's to building something solid, one stream at a time. And hey, if you want to see how this little YouTube experiment turns out, you know what to do. Hit subscribe, and we'll find out together.